The manila envelope hit the kitchen table with a soft slap. "Sign it," Melissa said. "Please, let's just end this like adults." Ethan didn't look up from his coffee. "You drove 20 minutes to hand me papers you could have mailed. I wanted to see your face when you signed." He finally looked at her. Not angry, not broken, just tired in a way that unsettled her more than rage would have. "You wanted to see me lose it," he said. "You've been waiting 8 years for me to lose it over something. Guess this is your shot." Melissa's jaw tightened. "Don't make this harder than it." "Twins," Ethan cut in, flipping open the folder himself. "Congratulations, by the way. Nobody ever said it to your face, did they?" Her breath caught. "DNA test," he continued, sliding a paper across the table. Not from the divorce packet, one he'd brought himself. "Ryan Cole, 99.9%. The color drained out of her. "You knew," she whispered, "since the 4th month." He capped his pen, uncapped it again. A small, patient motion. 8 years, Melissa. 8 years of doctors telling me it might be me. You let me believe that. You let my father believe that. Ethan, I can explain. You don't need to. I already know how it happened. His voice never rose. What I want to know is what you thought happened after. She swallowed hard, steadying herself. After is easy. You sign. I take the twins. Ryan and I figure it out. And you go back to your business like none of this touched you. Ethan almost smiled. Almost. "Sure," he said. "Where's the pen?" She blinked. "That's it? No fighting? No lawyer?" "You brought the papers already drafted, Melissa. What exactly is there to fight over?" He signed. Once. Clean. Didn't even read the last page. Melissa stared at the signature like it was supposed to hurt him, and somehow hurt her instead. "That's really it," she said quietly, almost to herself, gathering the folder with hands that trembled just slightly. "You're not even going to ask about the babies." "I know everything I need to know about the babies." She left without another word, telling herself the knot in her stomach was relief. She was still telling herself that 20 minutes later, pulling into her mother's driveway, ready to say it's over. It's finally over. Until she saw her mother's face at the door. Linda wasn't relieved. Linda looked like she'd seen a ghost. "Mom? What's wrong?" Linda's hand gripped the doorframe. "Melissa," she said slowly. "Wait, he signed it? Just like that?" "Yes, why are you—" "Oh, God," Linda's voice cracked. "Baby, he didn't tell you, did he?" "Tell me what?" Melissa's voice climbed. "Mom, you're scaring me. Tell me what?" Linda pulled her inside, glancing at the street like someone might be watching. 3 weeks ago, Robert called a family meeting. Everyone, Ryan, the accountant, 2 lawyers I'd never seen before. A family meeting for what? I only know because your cousin Priya works at the firm that handles Cole Construction's contracts. She wasn't supposed to say anything. Linda's hands were shaking now, too. "Melissa, Ethan restructured the entire company. Weeks ago. Before any of this." The room tilted a little. "Restructured how?" "I don't know the details. Just that Ryan's name came off something, and Robert signed off on it himself." Melissa's phone rang before she could respond. Unknown number. Local area code. She almost let it go to voicemail. Something made her answer. "Mrs. Cole?" A clipped professional voice. "This is Diane Osei from Whitfield and Osei. I'm calling regarding the property at 214 Birchwood Lane." That's my house. It's registered under Ethan Cole as sole owner, ma'am, as of March 14th. I'm calling to confirm a walk-through appointment for the transfer. Did your husband not go over this with you?" Melissa's mouth went dry. "March. That's 4 months ago," Yes, ma'am. I have the paperwork right here, if you'd like it emailed over. She hung up without answering, stared at her mother. Mom, what did Ryan tell you about the company? Linda hesitated, and that hesitation said everything. He didn't tell me anything, Linda said. That's the problem, Melissa. Nobody said anything to either of you. Ethan's been 3 steps ahead this whole time, and I think he's not done. Melissa's phone buzzed again. A text this time, from Ryan. My badge doesn't work. Security won't let me into the building. What is going on? 3 months earlier. Ethan sat across from a man he'd never met in person, only exchanged emails under a fake business inquiry. Marcus Webb, private investigator, 17 years on the job. You were right, Webb said, sliding a folder across the diner table. Started 5 months back. Motel off Route 9, twice a week. I've got photos, timestamps, and a receipt trail. Ethan didn't open the folder. Keep it sealed. I don't need to see it. I need it to exist. Most guys want to see it. I'm not most guys. Ethan slid an envelope of cash across the table. This stays between us, unless I say otherwise. He drove straight from that meeting to his father's house. Robert Cole answered the door in his work boots, still dusty from a site visit. Ethan, didn't expect. I need 10 minutes. No emotion, no yelling, just numbers and paper. Robert's face changed the moment he saw the folder in Ethan's hand, unopened, but heavy with what it clearly held. They sat at the kitchen table. Ethan spoke first, flat and even. Melissa's pregnant. Twins. We haven't been able to have kids in 8 years, Dad. You know that. Robert went still. I had it checked, Ethan continued. Discreetly. It's Ryan's. The old man's jaw locked so hard, Ethan heard it click. I'm not telling you this for sympathy, Ethan said. I'm telling you because in 6 months, when this comes out, and it will come out, I want the company already protected. I want it done quietly, before the noise starts, so nobody can claim I acted out of anger. Robert stared at the folder for a long moment, then at his son. What do you need from me? Full transfer of my shares to sole ownership. Ryan's name off every account, every signing authority, every contract. I'll buy him out at fair value. More than fair, actually. Nobody can say I stole from him. And if I say no, then I walk. I start my own firm, and Cole Construction goes to a man who just fathered 2 kids with his brother's wife and can't manage a payroll on his own. Ethan's voice didn't rise once. Your name's on that building too, Dad. Your choice. Robert closed his eyes for a long moment. When he opened them, something in his face had hardened, the look of a man choosing blood loyalty over blood relation. Get me the lawyers, he said. Monday. Present day. Ryan stood at the glass double doors of Cole Construction, badge in hand, useless. The receptionist, a woman he'd known for 6 years, wouldn't meet his eyes. Mr. Cole, I need you to step back from the entrance. This is my company, Ryan snapped. My name is on the wall there. Not anymore, sir. Behind her, through the glass, Ryan saw it. The lobby sign, freshly replaced. Cole Construction. Ethan R. Cole, owner and CEO. His name. Just his. Ryan shoved past the receptionist's desk, security trailing 2 steps behind, and didn't stop until he hit Ethan's office door. He didn't knock. Ethan looked up from his desk like he'd been expecting this exact moment for months, because he had. You want to sit, Ethan said, or you want to yell standing up. Either's fine, but security's right outside. What did you do? Ryan's voice cracked on the last word. My badge is dead. My name's off the building. Dad won't answer my calls. Your name was removed from the ownership structure 11 weeks ago. Legally, cleanly, with your buyout deposited into the account, ending in 4471. You should check your balance before you start yelling about theft. You planned this. I documented this, Ethan corrected. There's a difference. I didn't plan you sleeping with my wife, Ryan. You did that all on your own. I just made sure I wasn't standing on a cliff when the ground gave out. Ryan's hands curled into fists, but something in Ethan's stillness kept him from crossing the desk. Ethan had never once, in 30 years, raised a hand to anyone. It had always made him seem soft. It didn't seem soft now. You could have just told me you knew, Ryan said, quieter. We could have talked. Fixed it. Fixed what? You've got 2 kids on the way with my wife. There's no fixing that, Ryan. There's only after. And I decided what after looked like before either of you got a vote. Ryan's phone buzzed. He looked down, and whatever color was left in his face drained out completely. That's Melissa, he said slowly, reading. She says, there's a notice on the house. Ah, Ethan leaned back. That took longer than I expected. The house is in your name? Since March. Melissa signed refinancing paperwork 8 months ago. Told her it was to lower our rate. She didn't read past the signature line. Ethan shrugged, almost gentle about it. Neither of you were ever big on reading the fine print. Ryan stood frozen in the doorway, the full shape of it finally landing. You destroyed us, before we even knew you found out. No, Ethan said, standing now, walking around the desk to open the door for him. You destroyed a marriage. I just made sure I wasn't the one left holding nothing when the dust settled. Security stepped forward as Ryan backed into the hallway, stunned silent. Across town, Melissa opened her front door to a man in a gray suit holding a clipboard. Mrs. Cole, I'm here regarding the eviction notice filed on this property. You have 30 days. Ryan showed up at the house that night, still in his work clothes, badge dead in his pocket, buyout number burning in his head. Melissa met him at the door with the eviction notice crumpled in her fist. 30 days, Ryan. 30 days. We have twins coming and nowhere to put them. You think I don't know that? I just lost my company. You lost your company. I lost my house. My name was never even on it. Did you know that? 8 years married, and my name was never on my own house. Don't put this on me. Who else am I supposed to put it on? Melissa's voice broke into something raw. You told me it would be fine. You said Ethan would never find out. And if he did, he'd never do anything, because that's who he is. Quiet, passive, easy to walk over. You were wrong about all of it. Linda watched from the porch steps, arms crossed, saying nothing. She'd tried to warn her daughter once, months ago, about the way Ethan had gone quiet instead of angry. How quiet men were the ones you needed to worry about, not the loud ones. Melissa hadn't wanted to hear it then. She wasn't in a position to say, I told you so now. So she didn't. Ryan slumped onto the porch steps, head in his hands. The buyout's not enough to cover a new house, twins, lawyers, none of it. And nobody in this town will hire me now. You know how fast this spread. Everyone knows, Melissa said flatly. I went to the pharmacy today. Nobody looked at me. They looked past me, like I wasn't even worth the awkwardness. Across town, in a corner office with his name freshly etched into brushed steel, Ethan sat with a different set of papers spread across his desk. Not divorce papers this time. Architectural plans. A new build. Smaller company footprint. But entirely, undeniably, his. His assistant knocked, poked her head in. Mr. Cole, the deed transfer for the Ashgrove property just came through. You wanted to sign today? Ethan uncapped his pen. Same steady hand as always. Yeah, he said. Let's finish it. He signed without hesitation, the same calm, unbothered motion he'd used weeks ago on divorce papers that had already stopped mattering to him the moment he'd found that motel receipt. Behind him, on the wall, a new sign was being hung. Cole Builds, founded fresh, no partners. His phone buzzed. Melissa's name on the screen. First time she'd called since the signing. He looked at it for a long moment. Then he set the phone face down on the desk and went back to his blueprints. Melissa found him 3 days later, not at the office, at the old house, the one that was technically still hers for another 26 days. He was there, collecting the last of his things, a single box under one arm. "You could have just told me," she said from the doorway, voice thin. "Months ago. You could have screamed at me, thrown something, anything. Instead, you just erased us, piece by piece, while I had no idea." Ethan set the box down on the counter, same counter where she'd slid the divorce papers across weeks ago, expecting him to break. "You want to know why I didn't scream?" He turned to face her, and for the first time since the motel receipt landed on his desk, something almost like grief crossed his face. Just almost. Because by the time I found out, I'd already spent a week grieving this marriage on my own, in my truck, in a parking lot, so nobody would see. I did my crying before you ever handed me that folder, Melissa. There was nothing left to perform for you. So this was never about revenge? It was never only about revenge. He picked the box back up. It was about making sure that when the truth came out, and it always comes out, I wasn't the one standing there with nothing. I built something for 8 years thinking it was ours. Turns out, it was only ever going to be mine. I just made that official a little early. Her eyes were wet now, and for once it wasn't a performance. What about the twins? They're going to grow up hearing this whole story. Then tell them the truth, Ethan said, at the door now. Tell them their father chose quiet over cruel. That's more than most people get. He didn't slam the door. He never had. Outside, Linda was waiting by her car, watching her daughter's world finish collapsing through the front window. She said nothing either. There was nothing left to say that hadn't already been said in that one sentence on the porch, weeks ago. Wait, he didn't tell you? Ryan never got his job back. Cole Construction's biggest competitor picked him up eventually, a mid-level project role, a fraction of what he used to make. He and Melissa moved into a rental across town, not the life either of them had imagined the night that motel door first closed behind them. Ethan Cole stood in his new office 6 months later. Twins he'd never met growing up 2 miles away under a name that wasn't his, and looked at the sign on his wall. Cole Builds. No partners, no noise, no looking back. He picked up his pen and got back to work.